Well, hello. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Ian Henderson, and I'm going to take the mask off. Ugh. If you missed the couple of live streams that I did just around Halloween, I wore that not the whole time, uh, but off and on, just for fun. It's actually quite warm, and the voice is very blah blah blah, and the voice is very echoey. Um, in those live streams, I went over dev editor feedback because no one actually joined in chat, which was fine. Um, so for an hour and 15 minutes each time, I just spoke out loud as I went through the edits and what I thought of them. So if you want to go see those, they're in the live tab. So we're into November. I made a goal for myself of writing book 2, much like I did book 1, where it's just 6 hours a day, 7 days a week, knuckle down and get her done to about 60K. And it's now Sunday, the 3rd, and I haven't done anything. And I started to feel really guilty and like I was letting myself down. And that's not a great feeling. So I decided to force myself to at least get started. So I figured by making this video at first, that would motivate me to get going. So I noticed that Alyssa in the Books was doing like daily vlogs. I don't know that I'll do daily, but I might do weekly or every few days. So I missed out doing the 1st of November, the 2nd November. Let's go see what I accomplished on those days. I did nothing. I did nothing. Okay, and now we're back to the 3rd day of November. And since I didn't actually manage to finish plotting out my book in the Halloween video where I said I was going to go, plot out or outline book 2, I didn't get anything accomplished during that video, obviously, because I had to, sing, cover myself in blood and get beaten up, well, nude. So, all of those things were very important. They had to happen. And so we had to put the outlining on the side for a bit. So now we'll come back and we'll do that. Let's take a look at a screen recording, which I'm not doing. Let's set up the screen recording. Everything in my life is singing. La la la, blank presentation. Oh yeah, if you didn't know, you can do quick screen recordings just using PowerPoint. I think it only records at like 8 or 10 frames per second, but it's good enough. Okay, so we're in Scrivener for my book 2, and under structure in my research notes that I dragged over, which I showed you in another video, but I dragged it over from book 1 so that it would be here. This is the basic structure that I used, that I at least referenced in the first novel, and that I'll be referencing again in this one. So in Act 1, we have Life of the Victim, or Person Who Discovered the victim or the criminal committing the act. We have the life of the investigators, what they're doing while the crime is being discovered. Then the crime is reported, and they go to the crime scene and they assess. They create their initial plan. That's Act 1. Act 2, they collect clues, interview people, build new picture of what to pursue. Then we have red herrings, intentionally misleading evidence or misinterpreted evidence, and it's a very long section. Then there's no progress, there's dead ends. Then we get into self-doubt, doubting their abilities, doubting the picture they built is correct. Then they receive guidance, or a clue comes to them, or they're pointed to a major clue. Then we have the challenge. They are in pursuit again, try to find the location of the answer to the mystery. Realizations, transformation, find massive clue, leads to where they can find the answer. Great. And Act 2, obviously, you know this if you're a writer, is like a huge section. And there's just like conflict after conflict after conflict. I didn't have to write that in here because I know that that's how it goes. Act 3, they prepare and figure out what it'll take to get the answer. And then we have a climax, challenge, pursuit, make their way to the final answer. Things try to stop them, put their lives or the lives of others in jeopardy, or skew their direction. Then we might have a plot twist where they believe they found the answer and return to normalcy, but then they realize that they were wrong. Victory, find final clue, missing piece, find answer, connect all the dots. Oh, so that's why this happened. And the arrest or arrests are made. And then a possible return to normalcy, introduce new life, Pyrrhic victory. Pyrrhic victory is just a goal achieved at too great a cost, which I had to write in for myself because every once in a while I forget what a Pyrrhic victory is. So these are the building blocks, but these aren't scenes. These are just, it's like a roadmap for investigating and for the book. So then what I'll do is I'll go into here, and I won't actually have chapters. This will probably, I could do that right now live. Whatever. Sure. Let's do that. Forget how to actually rename things. Okay, we'll change the name in the manuscript. Call this Act 1. And then we'll duplicate that, and we'll call this Act 2. And that should also have a scene. Yeah, okay. And then we'll duplicate that, and we'll call this Act 3. So now within there, I'll develop a bunch of scenes so that these things end up happening, but these aren't individual scenes. I'll create the individual scenes here. And then I don't actually bother with chapters until I feel like, as I'm writing, as I'm filling in all of these scenes, when I feel like I've said everything I need to say and that the reader should take a break to absorb it, then I'll end the chapter. That's how I determine how chapters work. A scene is more stuff's happening, it's in a certain maybe POV, or it's in a certain area, and the way my mind works on this is when a scene's over, the reader, takes a sip of tea or whatever, has a nibble on their scone. And when I feel like I've done enough with all the scenes and I finish the chapter off, that's when the reader can feel safe to like throw a bookmark in and then go off. And they might not come back for, hopefully if you do your job right, they come right back, but they might not come back for a couple of days. So I have to make sure that that chapter contains everything in it that I wanted them to process at that point in the story. And when they come back for chapter 2 or chapter 32, there's a tiny bit of reintroduction necessary to make sure that they know what's going on, that the reader knows what's going on again. There's not too much reintroduction, but just, we got to ease them back into the story. But if they binge read all night long, there isn't too much of that reintroduction, so it doesn't get in the way. It doesn't feel repetitive. That's just how I see it. And then if an editor somewhere down the line says don't do that, then I'll stop doing that. But it worked on the first book, so we'll make it work on the second one. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time developing all of these scenes to hit all of those structure points, and then hopefully I get that done today, and tomorrow we can start actually writing book 2, which I'm looking forward to. But again, I'm trying to keep myself accountable by actually making this video. So, Ian, you're going to be writing tomorrow for 6 hours. After you're done work at 3 p.m., you will write until 9. Do it. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And hold me accountable in the comments. We'll talk again soon. Bye for now.